Okay. Now my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now today we are going to talk about discriminant analysis. This is one kind of prediction technique, like regression. All right. So in a regression, we have used our dependent variable metric, independent variable metric, and if it's a dummy variable regression, we will use independent variable category. But in binary logistic regression, we will have our dependent variable category. So like binary logistic, here we are going to have our dependent variable category, our independent variable metric. This is the condition. Now the condition is our dependent variable category, our independent variable is metric. Okay. So it is similar to regression. You can have only one dependent variable. Okay. So you can have many independent variable. All independent variable should be metric. Now this is normality condition is very essential here. Okay, very essential here. Now, what data set we are going to use is motives. That is the data set we are going to use, which will be having three variables. So, one variable is a categorical variable. It will have three categories. One is highly motivated, weakly motivated, self-centered. So, the category variable is having three categories. Now, we have two more independent variable. That is a self-support. That name is motive fact. That is the name. Label is self-support. Then another variable is family oriented. The name of the variable is motive fact 2. So around 552 cases are there. So this is the data set we are going to use. Very good. Now it is a prediction technique. How it is a prediction technique? See, for example, now we are giving a loan. That is the normal data set that people use, right? A bank loan data set. Now, the dependent variable is defaulter, not defaulter. That is the two category they will use. Now, independent variable many. Now, before the bank is giving a loan, the bank should understand whether this man will default or not. So now if you know what are the variables predicting, how it is predicted, you should be in a position to predict whether this gentleman fail or not. If the probability of failure is more, then the bank should not give loan. So that is why I want to predict whether he will fail or he will repay. So my dependent variable is category. My dependent variable is category. So I want to predict whether he will fail or he will give. So we will try to find out probability of failure. If the probability of failure is more, we will say he will fail. So this is the typical situation. Now, for example, like that, another data set normally people will use is whether you will get an admission in a foreign university, whether you will get an admission or not. Okay, so now you will have many factors and you will try to predict whether you will get an admission or not. Then whether you will get a cancer or not. Okay, cancer or not. Now, see, some more is, I am having a very ordinary question, whether the gentleman will have house or not. Now, I know what are the factors predicting possession of house. Now, see, for example, the government employee, the person who is in government employment, there is a more probability of getting a house. Now, for example, I am the sales executive. Now, I know that these are all the variables predicting what extent we predict it will predict. So, I am asking one gentleman, where are you working, something like that. I know what are the variables, I will ask. One variable is whether you are working in a government job, how many experience. Now I will understand these variables will influence the possession of a house, but he is not having. So I can approach that gentleman, I can influence. Okay, so this is the way people will use. So now, for example, possession of cancer, right? Now, there will be many symptoms, many this one, right? Smoking. Now, if somebody is smoking, you will tell the other gentleman, you are smoking leads to cancer, stop smoking. Now, he will be this one, but his probability of getting this one is more. Okay, so that is what people are doing. That is this techniques. That is this binary logistic technique and discriminant logistic technique. Okay, so discriminant analysis technique. Now, like that here, I am going to use saving motives. That is the dependent variable. Self-support and family-oriented is a categorical variable. All right, very good. Now, here, analyze, classify, discriminant. Okay, in this classified for K means cluster, for cluster. Alright, so cluster analysis, discriminant analysis, and same thing. Alright, this is also some kind of classification technique. Some people will tell whether the classification is right or wrong. So because we are classifying, okay, he is a highly motivated people, weakly motivated people, self-centered people. Whether it is correctly or not, okay, so that we will try to find out. Okay, so that is why it is under classify. Okay, next is, okay, so as usual I said the dependent variable is only one, independent variable there are, I can put any number, right? Okay, so now here becomes like statistics, classify, save, right? Statistic, classify, save, right? So these three are the way we will be using that, right? Okay, now this is the output. Now this is the output. Now let me go there. Discriminant analysis, motives. Okay, so as I said, three variables. One variable is saving motives. That is the categorical variable having three categories: highly motivated, weakly motivated, self-centered. So that is the category variable, three category nominal, right? Okay. So here this one category variable. So next one is self-support motive, family-oriented motive. These two are scale variable. Options are not given. So it is a metric variable. So now let me make it very clear. People should not ask me later question. Now my dependent variable is category. My independent variables are metric. This you cannot change. Now dependent variable you can have two category or three category, four categories. That is not a problem. Okay, that is not a problem. Right, very good. Now this is my data set. Okay. Now go for analyze. I have to go for classify. I have to go for discriminant. Now I should go for dependent variable category. Now define range. I am putting three category 1 to 3. I am putting 1 to 3. Continue. My independent variables are metric. So I am using first. Okay. Now this is the output. Now, okay. So I will have second output. Today, first I will not go according to the order of the output. Okay, so always you will be little confused. So let me go in a different way. But output contains eigenvalue, Wilks lambdas, and arrays. So please let us understand what is the output. It is degree output, Wilks lambda output, standardized canonical discriminant function output, structure matrix output and the centroid output. Now these are the minimum output. Okay, what are the output? Which lambda? Okay, eigenvalue, which lambda, standardized, structure matrix, and the center. Okay, so these are all the few output I have. But I am not going to use all this output now. I am not going to use all this output now. So now, first let me find out. So let me go to the analyze. Let me go to the analyze, and let me go to the classify, discriminant. Analyze, classify, discriminant. Analyze, classify, discriminant. Right, very good. So in the statistics, first one, I am going to function unstandardized. Okay, unstandardized. That is what I am going to use now. Okay, so now unstandardized. Okay, now. Okay. So if I click that, then I will get unstandardized canonical coefficient. Unstandardized coefficient I will get. So this is the small output I have, unstandardized. Okay. So let me take out to the PPT and I will tell you what it is. Right. So this is my unstandardized coefficient. Now, since our category variable, that is a dependent variable, is having 3 categories, now I will get n minus 1 co-functions. Since it is 3, n minus 1, 3 minus 1, 2, which means I will get 2 discriminant functions. I will get 2 discriminant functions. Normally, discriminant function we will use z. Function is z1 and z2. Now, based on this coefficient, now I have a function. These are the 2 variables: motive factor 1, motive factor 2. These are all the 2 variables, independent variable, right? Okay, independent variable I have used. Now my dependent variable is the discriminant function 1, discriminant function 2. So discriminant function 1 equal to 0.212 into motive factor 1. This is the normally we will write recursion equation. Y is equal to A plus Bx. Okay, A. So A will coming finally constant is coming in the end. Okay, constant is coming in the end. A. B into X, Bx. So this is the B, this is the B, this is the X. This is the B1, this is the X1. This is the B2, this is the X2. So 0.212 into mode factor 1 plus 0.193 in mode factor 2 minus 600. With the help of unstandardized discriminant function, I can write the equation. So I have a 2 equation, right? Okay. So how I got? I went to statistics, function coefficient, unstandardized. So that is what I have clicked. That is why I got it. Now what I will do is, okay, I will save this. Now we know how to write the discriminant function, right? Now what I will do is, I will go to the data set. Now, analyze, classify, discriminant. Here, I am going to save. What that discriminant score. So, which means by using this equation, I will get a score for Z, a score for Z2. So I am going to save that. That is what I am going to do. Now I have solved the equation. With this equation, these are all the x1, x2. Okay, that beta coefficient into x1 plus beta coefficient plus x2 plus constant a. Generate that function, that every function will have a discriminant score. I am going to generate. Okay, so I am going to generate. So if I generate, then in the data set, I will have two function. Now I will have a two function, right? Okay. So now I can calculate with Excel whether it is same thing, whether it is used the same thing or not, right? By taking that coefficient and multiply with x1 and this one, right? So now the coefficient with the x1 like that. Now instead, because we know regression, right? We know regression, right? Instead, I want to identify whether it is right, whatever I have stated is right or wrong. So now, what is my function coefficient? So that something into x1 like that. So this is my x1, x2, right? Okay. So now discriminant function 1 as I'm going to run a regression. This regression is not necessary. I'm just teaching, right? What I'm teaching. So this discriminant function coefficient y, it is a predicted value by using that function, right? That is what I am going to predict a y at. This is the predicted value with that equation. Now I should get a similar equation. Yeah. So now only one I will run and I will write regression linear. Let me take that function score is a y. Okay, y. So let me take these two independent variables, right? Two independent variables, right? Two independent variables. Okay, so now I have a coefficient. Right? So this table, that is the coefficient table. Let me show whether it is visible to you or not. I am having in the PP. I'm having in the PP. Now, okay, so now what is there in the PPT? Okay, this is the discriminant function I have written. Please now itself you memorize, right? My beta 1 is 0.212, beta 2 is 1.993 for a function 1. Now I put a function 1, a value is minus, right? Okay. So now since, okay, now see here. Okay, see now, okay, now the recursion source, okay, y hat is a function 1, discriminant function 1, the constant is minus 6, motive factor to the beta 1 is 0.212 and beta 2 is 1.993. So that function is generated with the help of this equation, right? Very good. Okay, now that is my function, yeah, that is my function. Now what I am going to do is, okay, so this is the generated one, right? Now, okay, now I know that this is a dependent variable, two independent variable. These two are generated functions, right? Generated function. So this is my function, okay, generated by using that equation. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to plot, since it is 2, I can tell very easily, right? So I am going to plot these two axis, y axis, right? So when this is x, this is y. I am going to plot it. When this is x, this is y. I am going to plot. Okay. So now I am going to plot. Now let me go to the spaces. Let me plot. Analyze, classify, discriminate, classify, and classify combined groups. Classify combined groups. Then we'll get and now I will get one diagram. Since it is diagram, it is taking time. Okay. Now this is the diagram. Now, before going to the diagram, let me explain again what is the very basic purpose of discriminant analysis. Though we say it is a prediction, fine. Okay, very good. Now the basic purpose is discriminant. Discriminating. What is discriminating? Now we have a three groups. Okay, highly motivated, weakly motivated, self-centered. Otherwise, leave this one. Let us assume that one people highly satisfied, medium satisfied, low satisfied. Right. Now we want to know which variable is the reason, or which variable, which independent variable discriminate these three groups. Now, one people are highly satisfied, one people are low satisfied. What is the reason which has made them? Right? They are satisfied on something, that is different. So, but this is the cause for it. This is the cause for this variable discriminates, leads to this distinction. So, these three groups have come because of this variable. That is the discriminating variable. So, this variable discriminate these three people, right? Okay. So, probably they are working that division. People who are working that division highly satisfied, not working that division. Income, right? People high income, high satisfied. So, income discriminates these three categories. So, now we want to know which variable discriminate among who? Highly motivated, okay, weakly motivated, and self. All right. So now we will look at this diagram. Right here in this diagram, if I take it, it may not be visible. So what I have done, what I have to do is normally every time, because all in circle, you have to change the design or you have to change the color, something like that here. So now, for example, right, okay, if you click it, it will go to the editor, it will go to the chart editor. Okay, in the chart editor, highly motivated, I'm clicking that. Now it will come here. Now, what I can do is I can change the type, I can change the square, then I can change the fill pattern, I can change the color as red. Alright, so apply, then here red will come. The design will change. So like that, I will make a design changes. Then if you say okay, if you say okay, so it will come. Then I can copy paste, right? But I have not changed the design. I changed the color. So I'm going to show this diagram in the PPT. All right. Now, okay. So this is my vision. Now, this graph you should understand very clearly. This is very simple, but this understanding is very much required. If you have understood this one, everything is over, right? So now function 1, leave the function 1, that is in the x-axis. Now you draw this center point. This is the center point for the self-centered. This is the center point for weakly motivated. This is the center point for highly motivated. You draw a line from highly motivated to x-axis and weakly motivated to x-axis and self-centered. Now, if you draw the distance between weakly motivated and self-centered is very, very less. So, which means there is no much difference. But if you look at the weakly motivated and highly motivated, so weakly motivated is here, highly motivated is here. So there is a large gap between weakly motivated and the highly motivated. Okay, so some people we call highly motivated because they have high. So these people have in the function 1 value, they have a higher function 1 value. Weakly motivated people, they have a lower function 1 okay, function 1 numbers, right? So the numbers are very less in function 1, the numbers, because we have plotted the numbers, okay? So which means in the function 1, weakly motivated people and highly motivated people are different. They have a lower, highly motivated people, they have a higher values in function 1. So the function in the function 1, these two people are different. Otherwise, function 1 discriminates weakly motivated and highly motivated. Because in function 1, weakly motivated people, they have a lower value. In highly motivated people, they have a higher value. Which means the function 1 discriminates. Okay. Okay. Very good. So we have a function 1, we have a function 2. Right. Very good. Now let us look at the function 2. Let us look at the function 2. Now let us draw a line from the center point to that function 2. Now if you draw weakly motivated and highly motivated and okay, so among the weakly motivated and highly motivated, the difference is less. Whereas the difference between weakly motivated and self-centered, okay, the self-centered people, they have more function 2 values. Okay, weakly motivated people, they have a less value. Okay, so in a function 2, weakly motivated people, they have a less numbers. Less numbers means the score are less in a function 2. Weak self-centered people, they have a higher values in the function 2. Which means these two people, they are different in function 2. Which means function 2 discriminates weakly motivated people and self-centered people. Very good. Now please write it down in the mind. Function 1 discriminates weakly and highly. Function 2 discriminates weakly and self-centered. Now, what is this function 1, function 2? We will try to understand. Now, before that, what is weakly motivated? What is highly motivated? Now, we have two motives. We have two motives. What are the two motives? Self-support motive, that is the function 1. Function 2, that is the independent variable 1. What is the independent variable 1? Self-support motive. Independent variable 2 is family-oriented motive. If they have more self-centered, self-support motive, weakly motivated, family-oriented, we call them as highly motivated. They have a high level of motivation. Who is weakly motivated? They have a less level in both. That is this one. Normally, I am telling you, I am not going to the data set, I am just telling how it is done. So there are two motives, highly self-support motive, family-oriented. If they have higher level in both, we call highly. They have a lower level in both, we call it as weakly motivated. Okay, now we have a one self-support, self-centered, which means they have higher level of self-support. In the self-support, they have a higher level. Okay, so now we know who is self-centered, who is highly motivated, who is a lower motivated, weakly motivated. Okay, so you know what it is. What is the independent variable, self-support and family-oriented, you know. Okay, now let us look at the. Okay, now we know one thing. What we know one thing? Function 1 discriminates weakly, highly. Function 2 discriminates weakly and self-centered. This we know. Now we want to know which is a function 1. Okay. Now we know already what is function 1 and function 2. We know already what is the equation. But from unstandardized, we cannot tell which is highly influencing variable. So we have to look at the standardized. If you know standardized, if you go to the standardized, then you can find out among the equation, among the beta coefficient, whichever is having higher value, which means influence of that variable is more, that we can tell. So now that is why I am putting a standardized canonical discriminant function table. So when you click that, that table will come. Okay, so what are the table will come? Eigenvalue, standardized and structure matrix and centroid. That's standardized I am using. Okay, so now look at this standardized function coefficient function. Standardized I am using. Okay, so now look at this standardized function coefficient function. Now function 1, which bit 0.979, which means in a function 1, motive fact 2 is having higher level, higher influence. Okay, that is having very high influence. So what we can say is, so influence of the independent variable 2, otherwise family oriented motive, independent variable 2, which is a family oriented motive. The influence of family oriented motive is more on function 1. So I can tell function 1 basically, because it influences more in a function 1, the influence of family oriented is very high. So the function 1 value mainly depending upon the family oriented, because 0.97 into that, okay, that level it will come. So the function 1 is influenced more by family oriented. Function 1 is a function of family oriented, because its function is more. Okay, only that daughter will dominate there in the house. Other people, they are simply this one. So they will, okay, we can tell that house is a house of this man. So function 1 is a function of family oriented. Okay, very good. Function 1 is a function of family oriented. Now, function 1 what is doing? Function 1 discriminates weakly and highly, which means if they have higher values of family oriented, they will be highly motivated, because function 1 discriminates weakly highly. Function 1 is a function of family oriented, which means higher level family oriented motive, then they will be highly motivated. The idea is very simple. Now everybody, they will think about the family very good, but first they will think about themselves, right? The idea is, if they have family oriented, they might be having self support also. That is why they are highly motivated. So people who have family oriented, they are highly motivated. Simple matter what. See, we can tell now. I will ask them what is their level of family oriented motive. If they have higher level, then I can tell they are highly motivated. If they have lower level of family oriented, then I can tell they are weakly motivated. So this one is divided, is distinguished or discriminated by the function 1. Function 1 is a function of family oriented. Now function 2. Now look at the function 2. This is 1. Normally 1 will not come. A rare situation it is coming. It will be standardized, means always it will be less than 1 only. But here it is a very rare, because this is 5. So now look at that 1. It is 0.2. So function 2 is a function of self-support, which means function 2, okay, is a function of self-support. More level of self-support, the function 2 score will be more. Okay, so the function 2, okay, in function 2, if they have higher level of self-support motive, then score will be more. So if they have higher level of function score, more function 2 score, then they will be self-centered. So who is a self-centered? They have a higher level of self-support. They have a higher level of self-support. Okay, so that is function 2 is a function of self-support. If they have more function 1 value, they are self-centered because they have a higher level of self-support. Alright, so function 2 is a function of self-support. So function 2 discriminates weakly motivated and self-centered. Okay, so now this is what we want in a discriminant analysis. What we want in a discriminant analysis? What is the variable which is the reason or which variable discriminates? Now I am telling, so the family oriented distinguishes between highly motivated and weakly motivated. And self-support distinguishes between self-centered and weakly motivated. This is what we want. This is the discriminant analysis. Okay, so if you look at that canonical diagram and this standardized canonical discriminant function, you can answer for the main purpose of discriminant analysis. Okay. Now, okay, so now how I am getting this matrix? Now it is better over. Now basically, right? Okay, now I am going to show this confused self matrix. Now, since it is a machine learning world, where in R they will be using this word. group difference. How the people are differ. Okay, so we want to measure that. One group is different from that group. Okay, so how the eigenvalue is group difference divided by within difference. In the group itself, there is a difference. Okay, then okay, so which means what is the group difference divided by within group difference. So now this is the two things, right? Where we will get all these things. Then I thought, okay, so normally we will get these words in instead of me calculating by using Excel, all these things. I can calculate, that is a different story. But I know that the result will come in the ANOVA. If I run the ANOVA, automatically it will go between group, sum of between group, sum of within group, then overall, all it will give, right? So what I have done is, I am running ANOVA. Okay, now what table? Now I have two function, right? Now I have a two function. I am taking that as a two new function, right? Now that two new function. Now I have a original category, right? Okay. So I were running that. Okay. If you have any doubt, let me run that. Okay. So now what I am doing is analyze, compare means 1 by ANOVA. So now this discriminant function scores. This is the discriminant function scores. Now I am putting this one. Okay, I am putting here this one. So let me use post done also, so that you will get mean value also. If necessary, I will show, otherwise not necessary. Now I have a between groups 992, within groups 549, total 1451. Then for the second group 314 and 549 and 866. Same table. Let me take there. Same table and here. So what I have done? That two function matrix are the function which we have generated out of this equation. Now that category, okay, variable, original category variable. Now eigenvalue in the table. If you run a discriminant analysis, you will run an eigenvalue. Eigenvalue is 1.809. So it says between groups, that is 992 divided by within groups, that is a 559. That is 1.809. Now for a second function, so between groups 314 divided by within group, that is a 549. Okay. Now what is the purpose of eigenvalue? What eigenvalue is doing? Between groups divided. Now that is for every function. Which means in every function, what extent it captures, that is we have a function, new function, that discriminant function. Okay, that is the Z1, Z2. That discriminant function how captures the between groups when compared to the within groups. Right. So within groups, okay, it should be small. The between groups, it should be high. So if between groups is high, which means the groups are different. That difference it captured two times. Okay. So which means between groups is 2 times, which means this function captures more of the difference between the groups. Which means this function is very important function. So this eigenvalue table and the Wilks-Ladner table is meant for. Now we have a two function. Right, now we have a two function. Based on that function only, we are going to generate the probability value and prediction of group membership. That function is very, very important. Okay, because of that function, with the help of that function, see, please understand that function is coming from independent variable. That is different. Leave it. Now independent variable, the work is over. Now based on that function only, we are going to classify. Now we need to know how each function is useful. So the function 1 eigenvalue which captures more of between groups. So which means function 1 is very good function. Okay, now if you take overall score, okay, it's like the same function 2. Okay, eigenvalue this one. Overall 100, if you take total 2 point something, 2 point some 1 divided by 1.8 divided by 2.3 something like that, that is a 75%, which means the total difference in among the groups, okay, 75% captured by function 1 alone, the group difference, right? 75% of the group difference is captured by function 1 alone. Function 2 captures 25%. Okay. Now we have a canonical correlation. What is canonical correlation? Okay. So now eigenvalue indicates ratio of between groups variability to within groups variability for the function. Okay. Now how canonical correlation, right? The canonical correlation formula is, okay, canonical correlation formula is that eigenvalue lambda that otherwise I will show the function, right? Lambda, that is the eigenvalue divided by 1 plus lambda. Okay. So now what is the lambda? 1.809. Okay, 1 plus, right? So 1809 divided by 1 plus 809, 2.9. So which is equal to this one, which is equal to 0.8. All right. So now, what is the role of canonical correlation, right? The canonical correlation indicates amount of group variability. Okay, so see, the group variability is represented by the function of unrelated to the group difference. It is represented by many variables unrelated. The variability may be within groups. See, we want to have group difference. But some of the variability might come because of within group or because of errors in data, because of error in end users. Okay. So now it should indicate correlation. What is the correlation? That correlation, that difference, okay, the group difference, how much it comes because of that function. Now we know group difference, they are different. How much is generated by the function, alright? So other things are that difference. These two people are different, right? Fine. So how much is captured by this function? So canonical correlator indicates amount of variability captured by events is coming. So one person scoring more mark, one person scoring less mark. Right, very good. That there is a difference. But that difference, because of this function, how much? Like R square, canonical correlation is like R square. Okay. So that is the R. Okay. So that is the canonical correlation. How much because of this match? Okay. So this itself, okay, 80%. That variability group difference is because of that function is 80%. That is the canonical correlation. Very good. So now we have one more called Wilks lambda. What is Wilks lambda? 1 minus eta square. Otherwise 1 minus correlation, that is canonical correlation square. That is one person said it is like that. But that again, if you think it further, Wilks lambda is within group difference divided by total variance. So if you tell like this, okay, so earlier I was searching all these things. What is this eta? I have very difficult in understanding eta where it is. Okay, then I have understood. After that, in one place they said, no, yeah, it is within group difference divided by total difference. Now look at that. Okay, now look at, you will use both, right? Okay, Wilks lambda. This is the value. Okay, so now let us the same on our table, earlier on our table, right? If I go again and again, you will be confused, right? That is why if I go again and again, same 992, 599, I place so that you can see here, right? So now within group divided by total. Within group 559 divided by total. Okay. Now what is this one? Now what we want, group difference. But within difference, it should be less. See, group, within the group itself, when they are different, that we are not interested. That error, that is the irritating measure. So now this is within group, in the total difference, within group itself, only 22%. Yeah. Which means it is less. So Wilks lambda should be less. So Wilks lambda is within groups divided by total. In the total 22, which means the between groups is remaining 82. So it is a reverse to eigen. But eigen is taken between and within. Alright. This is the between and within and the total. Alright. So now the eigen value should be less because it is taking within divided by total. That should be less. We are not worried about among the group itself, there is a difference. That variability we are not worried. Okay, very good. So now this is another one minus that is canonical 0.802. If you remember canonical correlation 802 and 604, all these things might have but two functions together. That is why within groups of 356, one group, for another group 386, both multiplied 226. That is why 1 through 2, both together. Even if you put both together, it is very there. Okay, very good. So now second alone. So it is less. Okay, yeah. Okay. Now this is not the explanation for writing, but I do not want all these things. Say, oh, you are confusing me. I want to have some easy method. Now we have a test. Chi-square test. Now, what is my objective? My objective is among these two functions, because these two functions are important, please understand. I want to know whether both functions are important or not. But what is the extent of each function is now I am predicting. I am putting that. Okay. So, how I am putting? Which function is making that to place? Because I have two discriminant function scores. Okay, so based on that, I am creating one group, 3 or 2 like that. Okay, very good. So now, let us look at the chi-square value. Now, both the functions are 0.000.0, which means both functions are important. So, though we say one function alone explains 75%, another function explains 25% of the variability, okay, of total variability. Some of this one only 80% because of that function, remaining is because of other function. Okay, limited. Now, chi-square is significant, which means both functions are important function. Over. Both functions are important function. So, Wilks lambda and the eigenvalue went for deciding importance of that function. Now, that is why, see, if you look at that output, if you look at the output, okay, one more output that also let me explain. Okay, so this is very, very simple. Group centroid. These are all default. Okay, so you will get the what are the things? Wilks eigenvalue, Wilks lambda, standardized matrix, and the centroid. Okay, structure matrix also that I will tell later. Now, okay, now I have shown that this one, right? This is the centroid value. Center value for that group in function 1, in function 2. Center value for this one and this one. This is. So that is the centroid. That is the centroid. Also, I want to test it because we know ANOVA. We know ANOVA, right? We know ANOVA. Okay. Now we have run this ANOVA in fact. Okay. Now we have run the ANOVA. Now look at this one. The ANOVA says, okay, this is the need for weakly motivated in the function 1. See here, same thing. Okay. So here 0.89 same value. This is with respect to function 1.7. So this is nothing but mean of each group in the function 1 and the function 2. Okay. So that is the centroid. Okay, so highly motivated, mean in function 1, mean is function 2. Okay, so if you remember, okay, so if you remember, we have run ANOVA also. We have run ANOVA also. Okay, you might have seen. See here, last we have run, say 1 point something. ANOVA we have run, no, same result. It's the centroid. So one more table I have not put that. Okay, that is the structure matrix table. Structure matrix table is similar to standardized. The only difference is standardized will give a standardized beta coefficient, right? Beta coefficient. Structure matrix gives the correlation value. Correlation value. What is beta? Beta is covariance divided by variance square. What is correlation? Same covariance divided by standard deviation X, standard deviation Y. So there is no much difference between structure matrix and the standardized coefficient. So there will be small difference in value because in the calculation, the interpretation in the significant, same result will come. You will not get different. Okay. So now what are the basic table? Eigenvalue, Wilks lambda, and the standardized structure matrix and centroid. But what we require apart from that, one is unstandardized we have used in the statistics. Okay. Then we have used the classified group plot. Classified summary table. Okay. Then save, in the save, you can save the predicted score and we can show the classification. Okay, very good. So now, these are over, matter over. Now, okay, so now, okay, now, matter over. I'm going for another one. Another one. Okay. Now, I will ask a question. You have to tell. Okay. If you tell, then which means you have understood. Right? Okay. So now this data set contain one dependent variable, which is a category variable, which contains 3 groups. How much they buy? Large quantity, medium quantity, low quantity. Now independent variable, 3 metric variable, income, perception, age. Now I'm going to run. Right, very good. First, okay. So this I will come later. Okay, this I will come later. Now. Okay. Now, this is the canonical discriminant functions, right? I think people are ready. Some people already they are unmuted. Now, please look at this graph and tell me your inference. Yes. Over to participant quickly. Hello, madam.
So function 1 discriminates low
one.
quantity and large quantity.
Function 1 discriminates low quantity and large quantity. Yes. Next.
Discriminates between all the 3.
Function 1 discriminates between all the 3 because the difference is there. Though there is a very large difference between low and large, but we cannot tell low and medium. Okay. Now function 2.
Function
It does not
2 does not discriminate.
Okay, so this is your inference, right? Very good. This is your inference, right? Very good. Now, okay, now from this we can understand function 1 is an important function which discriminates all the 3. Yes or no? That's what we can understand, right? Function 2 is not that important because all the 3 are lying in the same level, which is not making any difference. Okay, now I want to know the importance of each function, right? Which is more important, which is less important, whether both are important or not. Okay, then where I should go? Now I want to know importance of each function. Okay, importance of each function. Where I should go? Somebody?
Eigenvalue.
Eigenvalue, Wilks lambda, canonical correlation, right? And chi-square. There are 4, right? So now let me go to the eigenvalue. Okay, so all these things are little difficult. Okay, very easy thing is chi-square. Okay, very easy thing is chi-square, right? Now look at the chi-square, right? Can you see chi-square? Hello, can you see chi-square?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Now
sir.
there,
It's a significant.
which one, sir? Yes, sir, tell.
Chi-square.
One
Yeah.
and 2.
One.
So now,
One is the significant.
yes, now look at the significant value for 1, 0.00, which is less than 0.05, which means function 1 is significant. If you look at the function 2, 0.841, which is more than 0.05, which means function 2, yes, sir?
Sir, why it is given like 1 through 2?
So I have calculated now 1 to 2, that is canonical correlation value into 1 into canonical correlation of 2. Canonical correlation of 2. That value, you have not seen that?
Sir, I have seen that one. But for function 2, it is given alone. 2 only. For 1
Yes.
through 2. That's why I'm...
Yes. Okay. Now if you look at this one, though, okay, now we will look at that. Okay. Now let us assume that. Okay. So let us assume that both for Wilks lambda only, even otherwise, because we do not now. Even if you include both 2, that is significant. Okay, let us assume that chi-square is significant. But function 2 alone is not significant. Right, which means, so in the both also there will not be any significant, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? So function 2, it is 0.841, which is not at all significant. That is number 1. Number 2, look at the eigenvalue. 99.8% of variance is captured by function 1 alone. 99.8% of, I'm talking about between group variance, is explained by function 1 alone. Apart from that, the variability because of that function is 91%. Okay, the function determines that variance by 91% canonical correlation, right? Which means lambda, Wilks lambda 0.15. So the within groups divided by overall is only 15. Okay, remaining 85 because of that between groups only. Okay, so this is what we can understand. Very good. Now we know, okay, which one. Now I want to know, right? I have decided which function, right? Function 1 is important, yeah. Now I want to know what is the function 1. I want to know what is the function 1. I want to know function 1 is a function of dash. That I want to understand. Now, which table I have to see? I want to know. Now I know function 1 is important, yeah. Okay. In the function 1, which is important, that I want to see. Where I have to go? Where I have to go?
Co- Canonical coefficient.
Which canonical?
Canonical
I'm not-
correlation, sir.
Which one?
Standardized coefficient.
Very good. Standardized coefficient. Okay. Please do not forget that. Okay. So now look at the standardized coefficient. Right. Now. Okay. Now, though I know function 1 is important. Right. Okay. Now, if leaving that alone, that factor, now can you tell me function 1 is a function of dash. Function 1 is a function of dash. Otherwise, which variable influence more on function 1?
Perception.
Perception. Because it is 0.82. Function 2 is a function of income. But we are not that much important. We are not that important. We are not, because we are not worried about function 2. So the perception plays a very vital role. Whether they buy more or less, that depends upon the perception. That is the inference we are getting. So now, okay. Okay. Now, okay. Now, I put ANOVA, right? That independent variable with the earlier large quantity, low quantity, that category. Now look at the average perception of people who buy low is 33. Medium is 51, which means they have a high level of perception. That is why they are in the medium quantity category. Large quantity they have high. Okay, this is simple ANOVA to demonstrate that. But you look at this is mainly mean difference. Okay, but if you look at the mean difference, that also we can see, right? So one more, I will tell one more. You know this one. Okay, now I will tell some more also. Now let me take that aside. That is the three discriminant, three group discriminant. Buying that data set. So now analyze is classify discriminant. Okay. Okay. I put the three groups. I'm going to use. Okay. So now I may confuse, but please try to understand. Now what I'm going to use is, okay. In the statistics, we are having some more. What is some more? I am having means. I am having ANOVA. That is descriptive, right? Before going to discriminant function and the box test. These are all before. So let us try to understand these three. Okay. Minimum 1, 3. Okay. So now I have three tables: group statistics table, test of equality for means table, right? And I have a box test, right? Yeah, I put three things I have clicked. I have clicked a mean. That is why I am getting a mean value. I am getting a mean value. ANOVA. That is why I am getting a F table. Then I have clicked the box. That is why I am getting a this table. Right. Very. All other things are old. All other things are old. So now we will try to understand those three tables. Right. Those three tables. So now, okay, we will try to understand the number two. Test of equality of means. This is nothing but before performing discriminant function, all these things. It is performing symbol ANOVA. This is for ANOVA. This I am not putting ANOVA there. In the same discriminant function, the ANOVA is coming. Okay, this is income, three variable income, perception and age. Dependent variable is that category variable. There is a difference. In the income, all three groups are different. In the perception, all the three groups are different. Age, all three groups are different. That is before discriminant function. Okay. Okay. So now I performed ANOVA also. Whether this is I got it from discriminant classify. That is this one. Now I have a doubt whether I am getting the same result. I am using simple ANOVA. Compare means ANOVA. Now look at that. Both F value here and both F value here are same. Which means it is a simple ANOVA. If you put compare mean, whatever result you will get, you will get. Okay. Now this is the mean. Now see the mean, large quantity, mean in each three variables, medium quantity, mean in each, large quantity. So now which means, so there is a difference in the large quantity. Income is 59, medium quantity is 51, low quantity is okay, income is 38. There is a difference. That is why there is a difference. Now, though there is a difference, now please you need to understand. Though there is a difference in all the groups, now this is where you need to understand now please understand one thing. Now in a discriminant function, what we have done? We have put dependent variable category, independent variable metric. In ANOVA, what we will put? What we will put? Our independent variable, that is a factor variable category. Our dependent variable is metric.
ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணதுன்னு சொல்றேன். இந்த ஒப்பில் வராம இருக்கும். அதான் முன்னாடியே அடிச்சுங்க.
Dear participant, please unmute. Please unmute your micro.
Mute, sir.
Okay. Now, now please understand, sir. Now, from this, so you need to understand the difference between ANOVA and discriminant. In ANOVA also, what is ANOVA? Independent variable category, dependent variable metric. In a discriminant analysis, dependent variable category, independent variable metric. Reverse. Okay. Now, in ANOVA, we will look at the mean. That's all. Whether there is a difference or not. In we will not do that. We will generate a function. We will generate a function based on variable. The variable which is making a difference in group means. Group means. Not within. So now here, in the income, within group also there will be some difference. Within group also there will be the difference. Now if you use that, you will be confused. So which variable is creating difference in the between groups? So based upon that, discriminant analysis is functioning. Now for example, I will tell you case. Now income, one group. Okay, let me take one group. Okay, here income 59 is the average. 59 is the average. One person might be having 20.
Dear participant, please stay for some time. Maybe he is left from the meeting due to network problem or something. He will be back. Please wait.
So not visible.
Hello? Hello? Sound
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
It is audible, sir.
Very good, sir. Now, okay, so the parts, we expected the power went off actually. Okay. So I'm coming in the another laptop, right? Okay. So my laptop is not having battery. Okay. So now, no Wi-Fi also, no, so I'm coming in the mobile. So it may not be that this one, but please bear with me. Now, okay, now I do not have that PPT also here. Now, I will tell you. Now, we have described ANOVA table. Now we have one more table, that is a box matrix. Right. So if you click the box matrix, whenever you perform any, you need to have one assumption checking. What is that assumption checking is? Homogeneity of variance in the groups. The variance, the variance in the, that is the heterogeneity should not be there. That is the basic assumption for ANOVA. Now, like the same, that is homogeneity tested by Levin's test. Homogeneity tested by Levin's test. Now, box test is testing the covariance. So that covariance among the groups also should not be there, especially on the dependent variable should not be there, which means in the box test, let me put it very simple, the box test significant value should be greater than 0.05. Homogeneity test for Levin test also, the homogeneity should be greater than 0.05. In fact, for all assumption, homogeneity should be greater than 0.05. So that is the purpose of box test, right? So now in the discriminant analysis, one is statistics. In that statistics, we can get some meaningful input. Whether in the mean all the groups are different. Okay. In the function, whether they are different, that is different story. In the mean, that is different. What is the mean value? Whether there is a homogeneity. So those three we can do with descriptive. That is the statistics. Then in the score, we can say discriminant score, or we can say probability score, and we can show the predicted group membership. Then we can classify. In the classify, we can group, okay, group diagram. You can get individual canonical diagram also, group diagram. Then you can get a summary table. With respect to basic assumption, covariance by using box test. Okay. So these are all the things you will be using, right? So that's all with respect to the discriminant analysis. Now you can ask me, otherwise I will go to assumption checking. Now, do you have any doubt? Do you have any doubt?
Hello, sir. I have one doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir, as you said in the discriminant analysis, dependent is the categorical and the independent.
Very
so
good.
Even, yes. In logistic regression also, so somewhere I heard that when dependent is categorical, so we will use the logistic regression. Is it correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Pakka, sir. Pakka.
If it is like that, what is the difference between the discriminant and logistic regression?
In fact, logistic is more sophisticated, sir. Okay. Why it is more sophisticated? Both are same, sir. Both are same. Both are predictive technique. Whatever example I have taken, that we can use it for logistic. In logistic, in binary logistic, our dependent variable is category, only two categories are. Right. Our
Okay,
dependent
sir.
variable is category, only two categories are. Okay, that is a binary logistic. We have one more logistic that is called multi-nominal logistic, ML logistic. There, dependent variable can have more than two categories, three categories, like discriminant. Right. Like discriminant, you can have more than two categories also. In discriminant, you can have two categories, three categories, anything you can use. Right. Okay, that independent variable in the canonical correlation, that is discriminant, we should use only metric. We cannot touch upon any category. But in a logistic regression, you can have a dependent or you can have a category. If it is a category, automatically it will create dummy. Normally, if independent variable is category, we will create a dummy. But you do not only, it will create automatically. You have to specify which is the category. Okay. So, the number one, binary or logistic, simply put everything together. Logistic is better than discriminant. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, audible.
Okay, so the mobile, no, the connectivity is a problem, right? Very good. Now, okay, now let me tell again. In a discriminant analysis, okay, dependent variable category, this matrix, right?
போடு.
Same thing in logistic. Let me put together both. Dependent variable category, independent variable category. Not only matrix,
30
you can use category also in logistic. That is number one advantage. Number two advantage is
35 sir எவ்வளோ?
in a discriminant
V2
analysis,
sir 10 ஆ?
the problem of normality is very, very essential. If the data is not normal, then okay, so normality is very essential. But in discriminant, that is binary logistic and logistic, you need not worry about normality. So that is the second advantage. Then third advantage, there straight away you can predict though you predict you will get to the order predicting the odds ratio nothing but probability of getting selected divided by probability of not getting selected. From that we can easily by calculation we can convert the probability of getting admission, probability of getting cancer, straight away we can calculate. But here in a discriminant analysis, I know discriminant function, it is giving probability score, but how it is giving that I cannot calculate, I cannot visualize, it is giving. Okay, so that is the I do not know how it is called, but there I can calculate. So from many aspects, binary logistics and multinomial logistics is better than discriminant, but both are same only, but discriminant is very older days people have used, now people are using multinomial only. That is why people are not teaching this discriminant analysis much. Okay, so I feel you can go for the binary logistics and multinomial logistics. So here you can get the which variable is more important. There also you can tell. Okay, there also you can get standardized scores. Everything you will get. So both are same. As you have asked, both are same. I feel the MLR is better. Right. So any other doubt? Okay, quickly. Any other doubt?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir, eigen value is the result and sum of square within the group variable. So
Between groups divided by sum of groups. Between groups divided by within
divided by
groups.
sum of group. So
Within,
ANOVA is
within,
also
within.
similar. Hello.
Between divided by.
So is there any difference between eigen value and ANOVA, sir?
ANOVA is between divided by within and degrees of freedom adjusted. Then you will get mean square. That is why you are getting F value. Right? What is F value? F value is between, within, degrees of freedom, mean sum of square of between divided by within, right? That is why you are getting F value, right? That is why F value. So it is taken adjusted for degrees of freedom, to put it in a simple way. So that is adjusted with the degrees of freedom. This is not adjusted with the degrees of freedom. Okay, so that is the difference.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so now we will go to assumption checking. So okay, in the assumption checking, so first I have a normality. Okay, okay. WS test. We have a Augusto, D Augusto test, and we have a, okay, so like that we have many tests. Apart from that, we have some graphical methods also. TQ plot, PP plot, all these things. We have such plots also. Apart from that, now what I will suggest is, okay, okay. In the analyze, if you go to explore, then you will get one. What is that? That is what I am going to tell. You will get Tunis statistics. You have the Kurtosis statistics. Now, normally for a t-test, what is t-value? The difference divided by standard error. That is the t-value. For a regression, what is the t-value? Beta divided by the t-value. Okay. Now here in a normality, that we are telling whether it is normal or not based on Tunis and Kurtosis. So to do is, hello? Yeah. Okay. Now see here what I am doing. Descriptive. Yeah, descriptive, explore. I am going to explore. In the explore. Alright. So let me put for 1. Okay. So I am putting for 1. Okay. Okay, like this. Let me say, okay, both statistics and plots also, let me say normality plot with this one, okay, histogram also. Okay, all these things not necessary, but even that, let us click. Normality plot with test and the histogram. Now if you click there, okay. Now, see, you will get
Okay. Okay, now I'm ready. Hello? This is the mean value. This is the median. So this minus this one, you will get a minus. This minus this one, you will get a minus. So your skewness will be minus. So negatively skewed. Negatively skewed. This mean minus median. Like that. Alright. So this is a positively skewed. Alright. So this is called a left or lead. This is flat. That is normal. Okay. So now normally mean is measured first moment, variance second, third moment, and cutters is fourth moment, like that. Okay. So look at the formula, then you can understand what I am telling. Right. Variance is square, that is a cube, this is a or to the power 4. Now these are the different tests of normality. D'Agostino, Jacques-Barra, in a EViews time series, right? WS. This WS is a very simple test. WS is a very simple test. And the Shapiro will Kolmogorov similar. Now, in a graphical, we have QQ plot and PP plot. Okay. This QQ plot, when this is normally distributed, when all data points along the line, that is called a normally distributed. Now, if it is not like that, this is not normal. In a box plot, this is normal. This is positive. This is negative. This is negative. Right. Now, hypothesis. The hypothesis used are null hypothesis. Okay, the data are not secret. Okay, so alternate hypothesis significantly different from normal. So, otherwise, our null hypothesis data is normal. So, the probability value or significant value should be greater than 0.05, then data is normal. Then we will accept the null hypothesis, which means data is normal. Okay, so we have to accept the null hypothesis. That is what we want. Right. Here, there is more increases. Normality paragraph, the parameters will become more difficult, harder and harder. So, for a very large data set, normality testing become less important. Right. When normality will be a problem, okay, when your data points are very small, again there will be a big problem. Again there will be a big problem. Right. So the skewness and kurtosis both are problem. Highly skewed data create problem. Highly leptokurtic lead data also problematic. But that is leptokurtic is not that problematic when compared to skewed data. Okay. WS test. This is a very simple test. That is why I am telling you. The test statistics equal to W divided by S. What is W? W is range in the data. Right? Lower value, higher value. Range in the data divided by standard deviation. This for any data you can find out. For any data you can calculate. Then that Q value you have to look at the table. Okay, so it should be our Q calculated value should be less than the table value. Okay, because we want to accept the null hypothesis. Calculated value should be less than the table value. That is everywhere. And this is the what I have stated. Now, what we are going to do is kurtosis divided by standard error. Skewness divided by standard. Okay, that is what I used with the explore. Alright. Skewness divided by standard error, kurtosis divided by standard error. If this is less than 1.96 or 2.58 or 29%, right? So if it is less than 1.96, then you will say data is normal. This you can use. Now, how we have done? Descriptive, explore, and we will get like this. Okay, explore. Now I have calculated for same data. Do you remember this is what I was telling? 0.023 divided by 0.153. It is 0.150 given. Now kurtosis 0.400 divided by 0.304. This is equal to 0.131, which means both values are less than 1.96. Now, if we have used the Kolmogorov and Saprovil, so this is the same result as shown in the system. Now here, 1 second. Madam, I will join madam 2:15. I am taking class, madam. You take it from website, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Now, if you look at okay, now here, as per test, Kolmogorov-Smirnov says data is not normal because significant value is less than 0.01, 0.008. Here it is more than 0.05. So what test it says normal, what test says not normal. So in that case, look at this one. Our both statistics telling data is normal. Data is normal. So whatever you feel like convenient, you will get more good result in many cases, most often. But both should be less than 1.9. Okay. So now, if you do not have normal, what to do? Okay. So if it is a flat distribution, you should take inverse. Okay. So if it is a skewed distribution, you should take square or logarithm. If it is negatively skewed, okay, then you can take square. Okay. So now, what to please understand? First, you try with the log. Because what will happen? Normally, I will demonstrate it here. When you put a correlation for the original data, then if you have taken the log data, if you put a correlation, so there will not be any difference. So you need not worry about it. If you take log from it. Okay. So that you can transforming. How to get normal? Right? So after taking log itself, you will get normal. Right? Sometimes you will take natural log, L9. Anything you can take, so that you can transform the data. But this is written in Hare and Anderson book. He says normality can have serious effects in small samples. But if the sample exceeds more than 200, then you need not, it diminishes the effect of normality. Okay, so that is not that. You need not worry about it. Okay, this is with respect to mean. This is with respect to normality. This is with respect to normality, right? So then one more I will do with okay, collinearity symbol. Okay, I will not demonstrate user PPT.